Hello, folks. We're sorry we're not posting as much projectors lately. There are plans for more episodes, but they're going to be spaced out. Our summer got very busy, but we have seen some big movies in the theaters that we want to talk about. So there's something around the corner, and then we will be working on Halloween horror drops. But I thought it might be cool to revisit our very first movie podcast in once a week drops. It was called Documenteers, and it ran off and on from 2016 to 2020. We were very silly and discussed documentary films with myself and a rotating co-host cast of my friends as well as Angela. If you think my post-production sucks now, you can hear these and know how far I've come. The projectors seems more stripped down and refined from this old show, which featured a lot of crackly audio drops and even more attempts at humor, but we were always sincere about how much we loved movies and documentaries. The Documenteers helped reinvigorate me into watching more films, and I haven't heard these in many years. I'm throwing them up without revisiting. It might be interesting to check it out like a time capsule, but I'd probably cringe at myself from back then. But to be fair, I'd cringe at myself after hearing myself from like 2 months ago. I think I'll do a different intro for these throwback drops about every 10 episodes or so. And there is a lot of episodes, well over 100 weeks. Our first 10 episodes feature our first two 30 for 30 documentary discussions, that ESPN series, and one of my all-time favorite short documentaries. And there's some true crime stuff, which is fodder for documentary, but and it's still an occasional guilty pleasure. It's funny because I did intros for each episode of Documenteers back then, and I'm doing intros for them now for two intros for each Documenteers re-release, and that is definitely in the spirit of Documenteers. So please enjoy our corny catchphrases.
Hello there, documentarians. Welcome to yet another fun, probably our silliest episode yet of the Documenteers. Today, Stuart and I will be discussing the cult classic from 1986 by John Hain and Jeff Krulik. Yes, we're talking about Heavy Metal Parking Lot. And you can see Heavy Metal Parking Lot for free on YouTube. It's about 16 minutes long. If you have not seen it, it'll just take about that much of your time. Go watch it, then come back and have a seat with us and laugh with us. This episode is a lot of fun, I feel. But I may have to take the computer away from Stuart when we're in our recording sessions. You can hear him clicking around. There is something introduced that I would like to call a Stuart drop. It's when Stuart drops a piece of audio on your face out of nowhere. I don't even know it's coming, but it's not laid in well in like it's in a post-edit quality. No, he's pretty much just playing it aloud on the computer stereo while we're talking. I actually think it's kind of fun, like the low rent quality. It makes me laugh. Anyways, tell your friends about the podcast. Everyone likes documentaries. Everyone likes at least one kind of documentary. You can find us on places like iTunes / Apple Podcast, Stitcher, SoundCloud, many other apps. Let's get to this movie. I'm excited. This is going to be a lot of fun, despite all the clicks. But we know we love you. And if anyone gets in your face, just as Don Dokken would say, dock the fuck off. No, wait. Go dock yourself.
Now, here is a motion picture film. 1,000 feet. 16,000 separate photographs. Let's tidy up this tangle of film by putting it on a reel.
He's great, man. He sings great. Group's great.
How about Doc?
Great. Excellent.
Are you fucked up?
Half and half.
That famous clip of Ernest Borgnine, right?
No.
Right before he died, there's like a 60 Minutes or one of these, again, puff piece kind of interviews with Ernest Borgnine, maybe a couple years before he died. And they're like, so what's the secret to your longevity? And he like not realizing there's a mic right here in his neckline.
Yeah.
He's going to hear whatever he says. He leans over and whispers to the person interviewing him, I masturbate all the time.
Amen.
Look, I know you'd go for that, but he died 2 years later, so.
But he was very old. He had a life. He made a living.
Poseidon Adventure.
What's up, Docs?
Wild Bunch. What's up, Docs?
That's Docs with an X.
With an X. Docs with an X.
Welcome
For Extreme.
to now, Stuart. Yeah, you lamented when we had to watch A Gray State. I think your vote on that movie was a bit of a protest vote.
Yeah, if you listened to the last episode,
that we did,
then you know what it was. But if you didn't, basically I just howled the entire episode's length.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like a dog trapped in a backyard. But this movie that we're about to talk about, I think this is probably more in line with the kind of movies you were thinking you were going to be a part of, right?
This is definitely, I think this would count as my suggestion, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. But this is also something that we both know about and are fond of. This documentary we're talking about, it's only about 15 minutes long. Folks, you can go on YouTube. It's on YouTube, and you can just play this.
And one of the things that we like to do is tell you how you can watch all the movies.
Yeah.
Right?
No, we tell people how to watch them because they might want to watch these movies if they haven't seen them. But this movie we're talking about, Heavy Metal Parking Lot by John Hain and Jeff Krulik. Go on YouTube, look it up. We are discussing this based off of we both have a copy of the DVD, and it's the 20th anniversary of Heavy Metal Parking Lot. If you don't know anything about Heavy Metal Parking Lot, let me quote Dave Grohl on the back of this DVD.
Yes.
This is basically rock and roll 101.
For those of you that don't know, some of you are probably novices listening to this and haven't maybe even seen a documentary, or perhaps the only thing you know of documentaries are late night infomercials.
Yeah.
Which are documentaries about products. Dave Grohl's, is it Grohl or Grohl's?
Grohl.
Grohl's, I think. So Dave Grohl's is from the Foo Fighters, but he's also the patron saint of rock music documentaries. So if you're going to have a rock music documentary, you must have Dave Grohl involved.
Yeah.
Now, also, if you are going to have these certain rules unspoken, we haven't felt the need to speak these rules out loud before in the past, but we're going to get because now you've made it to this. I don't know. How many episodes have we done?
You and I have done 3. This will be about 10 or 11 by the time this comes out.
Right. And you should consider the ones that we do are kind of novice documentary episodes, right? Just for those that don't know everything. The experts are on the other episodes. We're kind of like, we're helping you along. We're hand holders. You know, Drew's the sports expert.
Yeah, he definitely is.
Angela's the crime expert.
I'd say we both share that enthusiasm, yes.
But Angela's like,
She's more into that than what we talk about.
She knows a little more than you, though, about true crime.
Sure.
I know just a little bit, just enough to get by.
Now, we throw around the word expert. We're just trying to actualize, like Jim Carrey, our future in podcasting by throwing out these strong terms. What we really are enthusiasts, lovers of documentaries.
Right, yeah. We're novice too, but we're just slightly better than
But imagine a year or two of doing this, and you know what's going to happen, right? Then that expertise we claim will become actualized.
Right. But, we have tertiary knowledge at this point.
Sure.
Would you say that so we're allowed to speak freely of Dave Grohl's and his pursuits outside of music? Now, I don't know much about what he achieves in the Foo Fighters and the Nirvana.
And Scream. He was in that band Scream, that hardcore band.
The movie or the...
That hardcore band from, I think they were from Alexandria.
So you've been doing homework about Grohl's.
Well, I just know about that band.
Do you know anything else about Grohl's? Can you add to what I'm throwing out here? I think that if you have Dave Grohl involved in your documentary, or the mere mention of Dave Grohl, you're doing pretty well. Good job.
That's how the kids are going to jump
That's going
on
to
board.
earn you an automatic 1 star, at least. Mention Dave Grohl, you've at least got 1 Herzog. Would you say?
I want to pitch something out into the universe and just give me producer credit when this happens, and it's genius. You're going to want this to happen. A reality show, right, that stars Dave Grohl, and he's sitting at a table, not unlike this one, and someone places an everyday household object in front of Dave Grohl. Could be like a toaster, a shoe, a coffee mug, and Dave Grohl has to somehow connect that object to the history of rock and roll.
I like that.
Sounds like it could be an Adult Swim series or like a short web series.
Yeah, College Humor, maybe.
Maybe, but get started on that.
BuzzFeed.
It also has a quote by Cameron Crowe.
Aha. Yes.
Director of Almost Famous.
Cameron Crowe is like near beer to a Guinness that is Dave Grohl's. This is a stellar human being. If you don't have him in your rock doc, why am I even watching it?
Well, he's not in this one. He's quoting the back of the DVD box. I hope that's not a problem for you. Is the quote on the back of the DVD box enough for you?
I think that because of the historic value of Heavy Metal Parking Lot, and obviously it predates Dave Grohl's conception, I think maybe he would have been a little boy. And now maybe one of these patrons of this show is a father or mother to Dave Grohl's. We don't know. We can assume.
Yeah.
We can make an assumption. I'll go ahead and say it. His parents are in this document. So that denotes
Dave Grohl, this happens.
Participation.
I think your timeline's a little weird. Happens in 86. Like, I think we got a teenage Dave Grohl up in hardcore bands during this time.
Right. So maybe he's one of these kids in the audience with a bandana, perhaps?
Maybe. We are talking about, Heavy Metal Parking Lot. The cult classic by John Hayne, Jeff Krulik. We see a wobbly car. The directors are driving a 1978 Bonneville. I know that because of the commentary. We watched that. We're only going to be rating the film itself, but we're going to bring the knowledge of the commentaries and some where are they nows that we learned from the DVD to add to our telling of this story. They pull up. There's a chill-ass parking attendant. You could tell right off this dude's fucked up.
Yeah, he's having a good time.
Enjoy the pre-show, man. We're at the Capitol Center in Largo, Maryland, May 31st, 1986. This is a D.C. suburb. So you got a lot of kids from various D.C. suburbs and Baltimore suburbs and all those areas in between who are into Judas Priest and metal converging on this show. Metal in the 80s, that's peak for this genre. That's when it was considered big popular music. Record producers.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. We're seeing a lot of metal sociology.
A moment captured in time of the state of popular music in the day. And it's a very interesting time. The 80s go through a lot of changes in popular music history. I would say it's a lot more versatile a musical period than a lot of people maybe give it credit for. Usually we look back on the 80s and it's like, remember the Buggles? And it's like, yeah, we all know that song. We all know about Flock of Seagulls. It seems like people are focusing in on very small things when they discuss this decade.
Yeah, you have the dawn of house music, the dawn of heavy metal.
Absolutely. Early house, hip hop is just growing and growing. You got various punk scenes, post-punk. The roots of what we would be known as grunge take place here. A lot of other like indie rock cultures like twee, hardcore, and there's still those classic punkers are still making records well into the 80s.
You're going to see all different sub-factions of metal fans. And that's what's interesting to me about it. You see the glam metal fans and the metal heads, which would later be the kind of dominant metal fans when you get into the 90s. These are the diehards. That's the main focus of the documentary. But you do see some of these glam metal fans, which is much like seeing an extinct rare bird.
It's kind of interesting that John Hayne and Krulik, they probably didn't realize it at the time, but 1986 was a transitional year for that genre. And there would be more subtypes of metals. We were starting to go into what is called the hair metal era during this time. And yeah, as you say, we see those subgenres represented in people we see in this doc. And it's really interesting to see that transition. And I think the album that Judas Priest was promoting at that time was leaning more towards that pop hair metal style than previous records. So that's why you might see someone here who's just got the full out permed hairspray look, but as well as like the classic metalhead goobers.
Right. Now, what you want to look for in this documentary, if you're trying to see what we're looking for, hairspray, yes. Bandana usage. Now, when you see a glam person, they're not going to necessarily have the bandana on their head. They might have it elsewhere. But a bandana could be a functioning accessory.
Some crafty metalheads might use the sleeve that they cut off of their T-shirt as a bandana. There are people hate sleeves in Heavy Metal Parking Lot. You see a lot of sleeveless T-shirts.
Not even shirts, necessarily.
Yeah, we're burying the lead a little bit, but Dokken is opening up. Dokken is the official band of Documenteers. You'll remember that REM's Document is the official album.
Right.
But the official band is Dokken. The official musician is Don Dokken, from Dokken.
Oh, yes.
Just want to make that clear. Little upsetting that this isn't focused on Dokken, but, it's not all about us all the time.
Isn't it?
Maybe it is.
It is mainly about us.
Judas Priest consists of, and we see some pulled concert footage near the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
The directors just took like a video of another concert and like injected it into this footage that they edited down that they shot in a parking lot. Judas Priest is, of course, Rob Halford, who had come out in around the mid-90s, Glenn Tipton, Ian Hill, Dave Holland, and KK Downing. You gonna remember that?
No.
We see a leopard print leotard. This is the age of leotards.
Yep.
We see an iron-on shirt with that kind of 70s, 80s letter font that you see on shirts at that time. It says, fuck off.
Yep, that's cool.
We see those permed hair metal dudes. And then we meet a guy. His name is Dave. He's 20 years old. There's a girl with him. Her name is Dawn. She's 13. And they start to make out.
Yeah.
This is...
Yeah. It's a bit like this.
And it rocks. 20-year-old and a 13-year-old smooching it up. Don't they say that they've been together 2.5 weeks or something like that?
Oh, yeah, do they?
There's a guy off camera. I think someone asked why they're shooting this. When people ask them, what is this for? They will say MTV. The directors say that a lot of people just assumed it was for MTV. Because at the time, the camera that they're carrying around is fairly high-end for 1986.
Right. But they were actually making this for public access, right?
Or themselves. I wasn't too clear on that.
A couple times I think they say it's for public access.
You hear a voice off camera that says that they, the filmmakers, are showing how kids fuck up today. And the 13-year-old goes, all right.
Yeah, that's what I'd say if I were 13.
Meet a guy named Graham. He's kind of got like a bowl cut with a mullet.
Right. He says his name's Graham, like Graham of Dope.
Graham of Dope and shit. He admits he's on acid and that they should legalize drugs, man. That's a fact. The girl with Graham, she's got scabs on her knees. She openly, voluntarily says that she got the scabs from making it with her boyfriend in the car. He's rough.
Wow.
There's a sleeveless DC 101. He's fucked up, too. Priest is bad, man.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that's the best. Priest is the best. These accents, are these Baltimore accents?
Maryland.
There's a couple of times that people are talking, and they sound almost like Eastern Pennsylvania.
That's a little bit of our DC 101.
But there's some accents that sound like almost like Philly accents when we get to Zebra Man at the end. Oh, but Dave, in the DVD we watched, they catch up with Dave.
Oh yeah.
And he's still rocking. They even perform a heavy metal song called Heavy Metal Parking Lot with his band.
Yeah.
But when he's asked about Dawn, the 13-year-old girl that he was smooching with,
they got married, I think.
No, the opposite. He plays it down like they were never an item and that they were just friends. He's doing a little revisionist history.
Wow.
Because what we saw, it looked like they were lip locking, drool swapping. Later we meet a girl. She's my favorite. She says only a few things. You can sum it up very quickly. She says, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jump his bones when she's asked what she would do if Rob Halford was talking to her. And then they ask, you fucked up? And she says,
half and half.
Now, it's important to note, the filmmakers, they just look like nerds. And they're legit worried that if they roll up into this parking lot, that some metal meatheads might beat them up. It's a fair concern because at this time, music fandom is like bizarrely divided. If you're not old enough to remember these times and you're a kid today, and you're making your electronical music, you're probably pulling from all types of influences and genres to make your beats. A more open acceptance of music in general is a lot more common today than it was then. But back then, and there are definitely exceptions to this, there are nerds at this show.
Yeah, they're hiding. We don't see them really.
They're in the back seeing if Don Dawkins going to walk out. That's where the nerds are. But there's just this stupid idea that was probably put forth by shock rock DJs that you couldn't say, like heavy metal and maybe also be a fan of The Clash or something.
Right. Which Zebra Man gets into.
Yes. And Zebra Man, which we meet towards the end, he talks about his love of heavy metal, but it's also a tirade against punk. And he's fucked up too. Everyone we talk to is fucked up. There's a guy, he says he likes Ozzy Osbourne. He thinks he's a bit chubby, so he's fat shaming Ozzy Osbourne. We see a guy with a shirt that says, "Kill 'em all, let God sort 'em out." And he's with a buddy.
And he's showing off another shirt that he's got in his car. What does that say?
It says, "Don't get mad, nuke the bastards." And these are the kind of guys that Donald Trump really appeals to. Yes. That guy is like, you meet those guys that say, what we should do in Iraq? We should just level the whole country. Sometimes you encounter people like that who seem to be very cool with genocide.
Like you meet them in church casually, social mixer of some kind, or in a after-hours club. Sex club.
My favorite fashion choice of this era are half shirts on men. And they're not going to do like dance choreography.
Right.
They're going to a metal show.
During this era of the mid to late 80s, the Gap, in order to get more customer base, to get a larger base to pull from, were selling half shirts at a discounted rate.
The Gap, half off, half shirts.
And as many of you may know, the Gap was always located next to Hot Topic in the malls of America, per regulations of all stores to be alphabetically ordered. So Hot Topic, Gap would be right next to each other. The metalheads going to Hot Topic would see the signs in the window of the Gap that would say half t-shirts, half off. Then think in their head, oh, I'm half and half fucked up. I should go in there and get a half and half t-shirt. Light bulb above the head.
Were there Hot Topics in 1986?
Yeah, we're just going to ignore that comment.
The directors walk up to a couple kids with long hair and a bandana. They point out in commentary that these kids were not having their camera bullshit. "Who you here to see tonight?" The director says. Kid goes, "Your mother." That is another favorite of mine. There's declarations that anyone who doesn't like priests are pussies.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And they hold up a Judas Priest sign. I bought a couple of Judas Priest records after I watched this movie because there's one thing that's important to me is that no one think that I'm a pussy. So I got Stained Class and Sad Day of Angels something.
Right.
Those are supposed to be some high-end Priest records.
Now, I did not get any Judas Priest records.
And you
Not
haven't...
because I am a pussy, but because I like Iron Maiden, which I think the documentary states at some point is the second best band after Priest.
Our
friend DC 101 makes this statement.
Iron Maiden is a better band than Judas Priest. Like, it's fine if you like Judas Priest. They did a lot for the metal genre, but Iron Maiden's a better band. I just don't think there's any debate. But you don't have any Priest in your extensive record collection. You don't have one Judas Priest record.
That's correct.
Pussy. I'm not a pussy. You are. There's a long line. There's a tall black dude. I think there's no more than 4 black people in this whole documentary.
I do like black people in documentaries.
He walks up to the camera. "What is this?" They say we're MTV, and he immediately says, "Bullshit." He sees pretty much right through this nerd show.
Yeah, he understands what's going on. These are just nerds making a documentary.
When we mentioned Zebra Man is wearing a leotard, sleeveless leotard, full body. And apparently, according to some other folks, he wore that to his high school. He would wear it like it was a part of his everyday school clothes. In the "Where Are They Now" part of the DVD that we watched, they meet up with this guy.
Yeah.
They go to his house.
Yep.
Now, when we first meet this guy in 1986, he's going on and on. Heavy metal rules, that punk shit sucks, doesn't belong on this world, belongs on fucking Mars. What the hell is punk shit? Madonna can go to hell, she's a dick. One of the best parts in this movie is, and he's fucked up, but he accidentally hits himself in the mouth with the microphone.
Yeah.
He pops himself in the mouth with the microphone accidentally, and then he grabs his tooth like, and then just goes right back in to his anti-punk tirade. This is what we're talking about. There are great punk bands. There are great metal bands. But at this time, people just felt the need to draw a line in the sand. Rock DJs coming out against disco back in its height is kind of a big impetus for this. It's just this bullshit where you gotta push something down to lift something up. It's just kind of like a shitty way to appreciate anything, really. We're all going to have bands we don't like. I don't know if you could tell, we're not that big of Dave Grohl fans. I mean, we probably do have plenty of records he has, but we're not like truly absorbed into everything he has to say about the history of rock and roll. We were being sarcastic.
I don't know. I think you should just speak for yourself.
Okay, you love him.
Dave Grohl's is, I love him as a documentary subject and interview head. I don't want to see anything below the shoulders necessarily in a documentary. A full body Dave Grohl's shot could ruin your documentary.
We meet a couple that have backstage passes. They actually have passes for 75 of their friends, they said.
Right. It's a long story, but they tell the whole thing.
When they ask how they get that, they go, it's a long story. And then 1 second later, she begins to tell the long story. But their friend dies and a radio show gives them backstage passes. I told that story way faster than they did. They go up to another group of people, ask if anybody here does air guitar. I kind of don't understand the question. Was air guitar huge at the time? I was kind of thought that if any question would result in them getting swung on, maybe it would be that one. We meet another group of people. The guys are here for Priest, but there's one brunette girl. She's there for Dokken. They're passing off a joint. It doesn't explicitly show them doing it, but what they do is they get up close to each other, and you can tell something's going on below the waist, but that's what they're doing. It just doesn't explain it. But the girl that is there for Dokken, we see her later in the Where Are They Now? The Where Are They Now stuff takes place about 15 years after this happens. She's not with the guy that she was in that video. She marries another guy like 2 years later, and he's a metalhead. And they meet up with her at a metal show, but not like, I think it's like a cover show. They ask if she still loves Dokken. She does.
Right. That's great.
And her husband actually opened up for Dokken once, I'm assuming at a county fair. They talked to a worker from Jamaica. He thinks it's all crazy. He's never seen anything like this.
Where's he now?
He might be dead.
Okay. Well, that's sad.
So people yell out, this is for Michael Foster. We see some dudes. They love Priest. We see a dude like popping in and out of his false teeth. He doesn't want to say how he got tickets. There's a nerdy dude who's talking about what he's going to do. He's wearing like a red polo shirt. And he describes how he's going to knock back a few brews, but he says it in a very unconvincing way. I hope he didn't get beat up at that show.
Yeah, Bruce. Sure you are, buddy.
We see many things. Older hairy people, a lady that's her first metal show, a woman yelling Glenn Tipton, we want to fuck your brains out.
And there were a few grandmas, I remember.
We meet a guy, he says he's a former bass player. I wonder why he stopped. He's not still playing bass, but he's wearing overalls, no shirt under it. His front teeth almost look like they're diagonal, like they're pointed. He's wearing a Star of David, and he loves the bass player Ian Hill.
Well, who wouldn't?
But he says this sentence, and I quote, Rob Halford, I don't know about you, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what that is.
He seems to allude.
Right, that Rob Halford's not of the Jewish faith.
Oh,
he's clearly...
He's a Gentile, that's right.
Gentile Goyim.
Around the mid-90s, we would discover that, yes, Rob Halford is a gay Gentile. There's a few other things. A girl telling another dude to get away from me, please, because there's a lot of people are all over each other.
It's a bit of a love-in.
And then it ends on some Priest show footage. We mentioned Zebra Man. He's probably the most popular. The man who went on his anti-punk tirade. Would they meet up with him later at his house? And he's very reserved. I get the feeling that Zebra Man is a kind of guy who's fairly quiet when he's sober, but then you put a little drugs in him, you put a little alcohol in him, and he about loses his fucking mind. So they ask him what he's into now. He says he's into hunting and fishing. He doesn't seem to know that the documentary has this cult level or doesn't acknowledge it. But he says he likes country, he likes hunting. But he points out that he still likes metal, but there are no good stations now that just play metal.
Sad but true. Which is a Metallica song, right?
But he also feels the need to point out that he doesn't like rap. So once again, he's having to say he doesn't like something to show that he
Did they ask him if he likes that punk shit now?
They make Zebra Man watch a jerky video of himself.
Zebra Man's so cool.
That's pretty much it.
Now, in my research, and this will be in the show notes if you go to the link to the website.
We don't have a...
I don't know why you keep interrupting me.
Sorry.
If you go to the website, you'll see that there's a WBV podcast interview with Graham of Dope Owens from the Heavy Metal Parking Lot. And that's a 41-minute interview. Of course, we don't have the time. If only we have been able to acquire his contact information, we might have had Graham Owens on this very episode.
I'll have to talk with the producers on why.
Yeah, we'll figure out why we didn't get Graham Owens, and WBV podcast did.
Heads will roll.
But we're fair, and we're just going to link to that, so you'll be able to see that on the website. That is docs with an X
No,
something.
we don't have.
I'll get back
website.
to that website address at a later date. And it's definitely a dot something for sure. That's usually how a website is.
This is a classic. This is one
This is a classic. This is what we would call an underground film, right?
Absolutely.
This breaks molds. This is a genre setter as well as a genre definer.
And this Heavy Metal Parking Lot comes from a culture where people used to find weird shit and would swap it around on videotapes, pass it around to their friends. Heavy Metal Parking Lot was very popular amongst touring musicians in its day. That subculture of odd video clips and exchanging those things. If you watch another documentary, Winnebago Man, it actually explains that subculture pretty well. And that culture, and what we see nowadays, we can just pull things up on YouTube, find weird short videos.
Right.
But a lot of that is derived from that subculture.
In the ancient days of our ancestors, you would get a hand-delivered VHS tape from usually a Buddhist monk or a monk some type in the religious sects. He would have also a copy of Heavy Metal Parking Lot. Not Heavy Metal Parking Lot, that's another, but Heavy Metal Parking would be given to you by an ordained priest, monk, or
Rabbi,
right. These are religious texts for a documentary fan.
That Zebra Man leotard will be worn by priests in the future.
That's true. Yes, these are
hell yeah
cult defining. These are cult defining films. That's what an underground film is.
It's interesting how we're going to maybe have to analyze this movie. For one, I enjoy it, but it's very much a first venture into filmmaking for these gentlemen. We have to take that into consideration, and also the context of the times. And in this film, maybe what seems silly could be part of its overall charm. Now, we grade things on a 1 through 5 Herzog scale. No star rating. Fuck those. But if you do want to give us 5 stars on iTunes, we will accept that. That's the only time you can violate that rule.
iTunes. Did I mention iTunes?
Stuart, what do you feel about this movie? And if you had to apply a 1 through 5 Herzog rating to it, what would you give this movie?
Well, I've only seen, a few documentaries, Jim and Andy, A Gray State.
You've seen a lot.
Those are the only two I've seen. So I have tertiary knowledge of other documentaries. And, having seen now my third documentary, previously I only had textbooks to go on and, Reader's Digest articles.
Outdated Encyclopedia Britannicas discussing in detail documentaries.
Right. And I also had early encyclopedia application for Windows 98. I had that. Some kind of clicky thing. You click on it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Clicky. And I clicked a lot on that and saw a lot about different documentaries. But this is my third documentary I've seen. It was amazing. I feel revelatory. And I'm going to have to say that I want this to be my new ceiling.
The Heavy Metal Parking Lot is your tippy top right now.
This is the ceiling. We found the floor, A Gray State. That's the bottom.
For you, for sure, yes.
Right.
Does not rank high. It's not fantastic.
Let's compare the two briefly before I give you my rating.
That's an odd comparison. Penguins and giraffes.
Here we have A Gray State where they're kind of leading you to have these emotional feelings and you're going to have to reckon with a lot of terrible events that happened. Heavy Metal Parking Lot just takes the Heavy Metal Parking Lot in. This is the Heavy Metal Parking Lot. We're documenting the Heavy Metal Parking Lot. This is a parking lot. It's also heavy metal. We put them together. It's a heavy metal parking lot. What happens there?
Heavy metal happens there.
And nothing is we aren't led anywhere to think anything, to have any deep feelings, and they aren't trying to tell us how we should think. There's not any talking heads coming in saying, yes, this is the heavy metal parking lot, and blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, that's a cheat, really.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cheat, right?
It's refreshing to not have that in it.
It's refreshing. That's right. That's what this documentary is. It's refreshing. It's so refreshing that I didn't even think about it as a documentary. I just thought about it as
It's fun.
It's fun. Yeah, it's great. I can't imagine spending 60 minutes better or 17 minutes.
No, I probably watched this at least 3 times preparing for this episode.
Are you going to watch a Gray State
No.
3 times?
Once is plenty.
Okay. So let's just say that's the comparison. This is the roof of what my Herzog scale will be. So that being said, 5 Herzogs.
Wow.
5.
This marks our second 5 Herzog rating. Angela gave the film Mommy, Dead, and Dearest 5 Herzogs, a true crime film about Gypsy and Dee Dee Blanchard. I feel a lot of what you're saying. And there is even the points in this little short doc where cheesy effects going through the crowd, there's like weird stuff. It just seems...
You're getting emotional, right?
Yeah, I'm getting emotional.
You have the cheesy effects.
It just seems that even in the elements of it that could seem bad, that there is just an endless amount of charm in it. You can either take this on its surface and still have a lot of fun with it, or you can actually think deeper about it, about the place and time, as we discussed, the state of popular music at the time. Mm-hmm. You can kind of go anywhere with this movie that you choose to go. You can kind of turn your brain off and enjoy it. You can turn your brain on and get even more out of it.
Right.
And the best of all, it's kind of a very easy one to share amongst your friends because one is so short.
Right.
It's now even more so a relic of the past that a lot of people will gawk at and laugh at or laugh with it.
Now, can I ask you one thing?
Go ahead.
How many college dissertations do you think you could get out of this film?
I could get at least 2.
Yeah, it's a wealth. It's a wealth.
So Stuart, for my rating of Heavy Metal Parking Lot by John Hain and Jeff Krulik, my friend, we're about to make Documentier history. I too am giving Heavy Metal Parking Lot 5 out of 5 Herzogs.
Wow.
Folks, you know what that means. Stuart gives it 5. I give it 5. Perfect documentary.
What do we do next? Is there something we have to do now?
I think we just move on and wind it down.
I think check the website. We may do something on the website.
We don't have a website. We just have an RSS feed. Damn it.
I don't know. Leave a comment on the website. we may take your suggestions for what we should do. Perhaps a parade of some kind, or I get it. How about we invite our grandmothers over and have a feast of some kind, or we might just invite neighborhood grandmas over. There's usually a grandma or 2 in any given neighborhood or more, and we'll invite them over for a feast and discuss the merits of the film.
Sit your grandma down and have her watch Heavy Metal Parking Lot.
Yes, with context, of course.
It's not too long for her.
No, it's a grandma could have experienced this film. I think that's also the roof. That's when you're looking at the roof of our rating system. Could a grandma watch this?
Yeah, she should. I don't know how she'd feel about it, but she should.
Right. Or should she? Should she? Will she? Would she? Grandma.
Yeah. Since this is our first ever 10 out of 10, that means, folks, you should own a copy of this. You should go get it.
Right, folks. And if you don't have any money, or you really think we're kind of full of shit, then you can also just go on YouTube and watch the film for free. It's out there.
Yeah, it's there.
And that just tells you that we are not the only people to think this, because YouTube has decided, let's put out the movie for free. We're YouTube. We should have this movie on here for the people.
It's not on a paywall. It's just there.
Right. It's not like some of these YouTube clips, like that guy singing Carmen Burina in the shower where you have to pay for it. It's free.
Treat yourself. I think Oprah says that too. Heavy Metal Parking Lot by John Hain and Jeff Krulik. Our first 10 out of 10 Herzog film. Like Don Dockin, keep on docking. I'm sorry to interrupt. I have to take a shit.
Well, I figured you would have to take a shit eventually. I'll tell you, folks. Bobby shits all the time. Like, constantly. He's constantly shitting. A lot of people don't know this, but I actually know Bobby outside of the podcast.
Heavy metal rules. All that punk shit sucks. It doesn't belong in this book.
Heavy metal does rule.
And Madonna can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. She's a dick.
Yeah, it's true.
Rules. Twisted Sister, Juice Priest, Stocking, Ozzy, Scorpions, they all rule. All that shit rules.
Mm-hmm.
This punk shit, circle of shit, and the dicks and all, that can go to hell. I don't care. You know, I don't really give a shit.
Watch your teeth.
Kind of